Hi guys, we are group 10. Today we are going to talk about Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste, located at the eastern half of the island of Timor, is the first new sovereign state of the 21st century. On 2002, it is the youngest country in Southeast Asia. Well, I can say that Timor-Leste is a very young country that not so many people know about its culture. So today, to open your mind about this country, we are going to introduce one of unique tradition culture of Timor-Leste is Tais weaving. Our group has 5 people. They are Ngọc Hoan, Yến Thảo Hằng. Let's find out with us what is ties, history of ties, cultural meaning, the weaving process, and ties in daily life.
Hi guys, now let's find out what ties is. First, we would like to show a short video about ties that we have prepared. Yes, recently you have just watched a very special video about Timorese people with ties. Ties clothes is a form of traditional weaving created by the women of East Timor. Ties are an important part of the cultural heritage of the East Timorese people. They are an essential part of many traditional activities such as ceremonial adornment, sign of respect and appreciation of guests, friends, relatives, and home decor and personal apparel. The Catholic Church of East Timor has also adopted use of tie during its ceremonies. And next, let's learn about the history of ties. Because of the Indonesian occupation of East Timor, detailed study of the history and importance of ties began only after 2000. The ties has been used in East Timor as a unit of exchange, often livestock or other valuable. In ceremonial use, the ties is usually worn along with feather, coral, gold, and silver. Still, the sale of ties has become common only after the last 30 years. Although small-scale commerce of ties is an important source of income for women. However, export is difficult and nearly all the sales take place with the foreigners. In recent years, the public textile market in the capital, Delhi, has seen an influx of foreigner-made weavings, which they often look like ties and are made and sold more cheaply. Weaving of ties is performed solely by women, with techniques passed down from generation to generation in an oral tradition. The activity often serves as a community gathering as much as a tool of productivity, and serves as a rare form of self-expression in the restrictive environment of the 25 years Indonesian occupation. Tia Veronice Pereira created a black tie with the name of the 271 victims woven in red into it to commemorate the victims of the 1990 Santa Cruz Massacre. The Santa Cruz Massacre, also known as the Dili Massacre, was shooting at least 250 East Timorese pro-independence demonstrators in the Santa Cruz cemetery in the capital, Dili, until November 1990. During the Indonesian occupation of East Timor, and a part of the East Timor genocide, the influence of Tais on the lives of women is reflected in the East Timorese expression, bringing a thread and robin, and the influence of Tais on the life of women are reflected in the East Timorese expression, bringing a thread and bobbin in reference to newborn child. During the occupation, Indonesian soldiers were a considerable market for Thai weavers. In the 1970s years, Thais for the first time began to feature inscriptions, usually written in Indonesian. In the era of independence, Thai artisans have begun specializing in customized weavings, as well as Thai-like products such as handbags and scarves. Since 1999, workers in national non-government organizations and the United Nations bought ties to take home as gift and memento, and new messages found their way into ties in English and Portuguese, as well as Tetun. A quite remarkable fact is most of the weavers are found in rural areas where they have not had the opportunity to learn how to read and write. Many people wishing to assist East Timorese women develop income stream have important ties for sale and existed weaver and sewing groups to produce items such as purses, bags, cushion cover, and bags that are sellable in Australia and elsewhere. The selling of ties is rapidly moving offshore as many people taking their initiatives belong to local government friendship group in Australia.
Tais offer important insights into the history, cultural identity, and customs of the Timorese people. These clothes are an important part of the cultural heritage of these people, which is very fragmented into different ethnic groups and religions. These textiles distinguish themselves not only by their stylistic and technical weaving terms, but also by their cultural meaning. These ties carry in them the size of the tribe, their beliefs, tradition, rites of passages, and so on. Firstly, the cloth ties appear as a sign of hope. Ties, the tradition in East Timor, is the central thread that weaves the friendship between East Timorese women. Through the medium of ties, women have the chance to improve their quality of life and uphold the customs and traditions that shape East Timorese identity. By applying skills that are steeped in the old ways, women weave new opportunities and cultural and commerce modes for development. Unlike in the West, where generally little importance is placed on women's work with textiles, in East Timorese culture, cloth plays a key role in social and ritual life, and also in assigning women's standing in communities. Therefore, another role is to help restore a sense of community for these women who may otherwise live in isolation through creative partnerships and skill trading. In post-conflict Timor, weaving is also vital to healing past traumas, and as a creative outlet, it can provide stable employment for women who face an uncertain future, including those widowed, orphaned, or estranged from their families during wartime. Those who are able to earn a living through ties are venerated, living proof that a woman can assume a position of independence and leadership in lifting her family out of poverty. Ties embody women's contribution to cultural and social life in East Timor. They clothe communities and play a central role in rituals to celebrate birth, honor the dead, and in particular, in the traditional rite of marriage, women are the carriers of the cultural language that reflects the birthplace of whole communities. Through ties, this cultural language is expressed and weavers play a collective role in maintaining place-based identity. The weaving of the ties plays an integral role in Timorese life, and especially women's life, shaping identity and attitudes towards them. Ties cloths are traditionally given by one Timorese woman to another as a mark of respect or symbol of repentance. Restore a sense of community for these women who may otherwise live in isolation through creative partnerships and sharing materials and skills. Thai is not a symbol of hope, but also a symbol of cooperation among the people of East Timor. Accordingly, Thais represents the social process of East Timor.
Some of the key social functions of Thai weaving, such as strengthening family bonds by sharing a room between three generations of women, are now unattainable for many Timorese. Weaving also provides space for individual and communal expression and creativity. The weaving process is a social process undertaken communally often for generations of women involved. Techniques are passed through generations, and girls as young as 4 years old are taught to weave by their mothers, grandmothers, sisters, and aunts. The whole process fosters and strengthens intergenerational relationship and process of cooperation between genders. Although principally consider women's work, men are often seen assisting women in both growing and dyeing cotton and assembling the looms. Unlike other countries, particularly in the Asia region, where traditional textiles have recorded history, Timor-Leste Thai's production was based on memory alone. Miss Lotta Silva said, grandmother passed the weaving skill to their daughter, from daughter to granddaughters, and so on. It was the method of creating a memory chain of knowledge. Cultural heritage is important because it makes the past continuous. Weaving, songs, dance, language, and rituals strengthen our cultural identity. They connect us to a range of emotions, feelings, offer information, inspiration, education, needs, and fact about the lifestyle and development of our communities, relationships, successes, and tragedies. Purposefully and carefully woven matrimonial sets consisting predominantly of Thais fatal, woman's tie, and Thais men's tie, are the weaver's exclusive gift, symbolic of the coming together of two communities or the broader social contract that are bound up in the unity of marriage. Strong affiliations can and to place influencer notion in Timorese culture and demonstrate in the practical and symbolic functions and aesthetic aspect of ties. Besides, the colors and texture on ties fabric also show a lot of different cultural meanings depending on the location. Color is a highly symbolic in ties weaving, especially the colors of the Timorese nation flag, red for sacrifice and liberation, black for triumph, yellow for the nation's colonial women, and white for the light of peace. The color chosen for anyone close depending on occasion where it will be worn, wedding or funeral. Patent and Moffat have green meaning, inherit from the era of constantly represent something more than a mere decoration. A local said that local history and cultural lessons are expressed in the Moffat woven into ties with very from reason to reason. For example, in Ocuse, where Portuguese missionaries brought to Catholic faith to Timor-Leste more than 5 centuries ago, to explain that none introduced European patent on paper to teach the weaver in Ocuse to incorporate European religious themes such as angels, macrame copies, even Botticelli-inspired images into their ties in other municipalities. Ties motifs are inspired by ancient traditional Timorese legends, such as the myth of the crocodile and local flora and fauna.
Yes, now I will continue to tell you about the weaving process. First of all, prepare the cotton. Ties is mainly woven from cotton using a combination of plain weave and ikat technique. The first step to making ties starts with raw cotton on the right, known as K-pass. First, ginning. Ginning is the process of separating the raw fiber from the seeds. Then the cotton is hand spun and put into balls prior to dyeing and weaving. But today, commercial cotton is combined with traditional design to create contemporary ties that maintain their customary elements. Dyeing the cotton is the next step. Raw cotton is dyed using natural pigment obtained from local leaves, bark, roots, as moth and dried to create the vibrant color of traditional ties. All weavers have their sacred recipe to create desserts, be it brown, blue, green, yellow, or pink, and a good dye is seen to be a brilliant alchemist. The leaves and bark are crushed to make dyes. Then the cotton is dipped in dye and dried. The process can take from 2 or 3 days to a few months, depending on the complexity of the tones and the number of colors to be combined. However, there is a small step to dye. It's filters. Filters is a meticulous process of creating design by trying to form specific patterns before the yarn is dyed. The tie warp threads are immersed into dye mixture, cold, and emerge again depending on the number of colors to be combined. Weavers who produce quality filters are considered highly intelligent and give. Third, wind the warp. After drying, cotton is rolled into spoons of thread. There are two types, the warp and the well. To set a thread, the warp or vertical thread and the well or horizontal thread are interlaid during the weaving process to create the cloth. The warp is held fixed in tension on frame or loom. The well is pulled over and inserted under the warp. The warp is attached to the shape which has the weaver's lower back, hence the name back shape loom. With the warp stretched out in front of her, the weaver maintains the tension on the cloth by leaning back and keeping her legs stretched and extended during the weaving process. The pressure on her leg and lower back creates intense pain if the weaver sits at the loom for too long. Bonds of cotton are placed inside coconut cell disease, passed back and forth and put in precision around the sample warping frame. So the warp threads are then transferred to the loom and the weaving process begins. Finally, with the web are inserted along the same passage as the main well, and then work backward and forward to create the design. The decorative well can change color in each round, resulting in a variety of color throughout the design. Especially, Meli is the floating well technique used intensively. Intricate and time-consuming, the technique requires a high level of expertise and is used to add motifs such as flowers, stars, and leather during the weaving process.
Now I will talk about ties in daily life. Ties is ever present as a cultural necessity in the lives of all Timorese regardless of socio-economic background. Firstly, men and women wear distinctively different ties. Once of the loom, they are sometimes joined with a seam to make feather or main ties, worn by women and men, respectively during ceremonies. Men's ties are worn like a sarong around the waist and woven in one large piece. The woman's ties petal, is a tube of fabric either worn as a skirt or a dress. Secondly, this traditional handmade textile woven by women across Timor-Leste plays an important role in the life of Timorese people. Before the introduction of currency and after, the ties has been used as a valued object of exchange and in gifting and ceremonies. The Timorese must wear ties for all traditional ceremonies. Ties are usually made for ceremonial use, along with feathers, corals, gold, and silver. It had a symbolic meaning of respect towards guests, friends, relatives, and ancestors. Its role in wedding arrangement and the associated family ties is attributed by some writers with contributing to the maintenance of and strength of Timorese identity. despite hundreds of years of colonial occupation. A forum was recently held in Melbourne to stimulate and expand the debate and dialogue about the impact of commoditizing the Tais because it is a craft grounded in culture and sacred life. Tais is an imperative present during birth, traditional marriage contracts, funerals, and in traditional rituals. Textiles are the art form of the Southeast Asian region, and often the most beautiful ties are used to wrap around the body of loved ones for burial. The Catholic Church of East Timor has also adopted the use of ties during its ceremony. Beyond its cultural significance, Tais is one of the must-have souvenir bought by tourists, a vital market for local weavers. The Timorese also offer ties to foreign guests, and they wear ties to represent the country abroad. Modern ties can also be sewed into narrow scarf, called saradang, or cut to make accessories such as earrings, purses, or bags. Ties also present an opportunity and inspire the fledgling fashion industry in Timor-Leste. Young and enthusiastic, with natural talent to design using traditional Timorese fabric, Tais Rui Carvalho is Timorese designer with natural talent using ties for his design. Rui Carvalho is a designer trained in jewelry design, dressmaking, a master with ties, shoes, and gained many success in fashion. With outfits inspired by traditional Timorese fabric ties, his Rui collection has created success in the fashion world. So let's watch the video about the 10th years anniversary of Rui collection, Rui Carvalho fashion show.
Worth it in the end, but when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. Just fight a little longer, my friend. It's all worth it in the end, but when you got nobody to turn to, just hold on and I'll find you. I'll find you. I'll find you. Just hold on and I'll find you. I'll find you. I'll find you. Just hold on and I'll find you.
But I can't do this on my own. That's why I'm just trusting in you. Cause I don't know where else to go, and I don't know what else to do.
No, don't let the fear make you feel like you can't fight this on your own. You know I'll be there for you no matter where you go.
Now it's time for quiz. Thank you for your listening.